Hello everyone, I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and we've got an action-packed episode for you today because Fernando Cruz, the Yankees' brand new reliever, continues to look absolutely filthy. The right-hander picked up his first career save last night as he struck out two, didn't allow a run across 2 innings of work, and he has been a revelation for the New York Yankees. But before we get into everything and talk about Fernando Cruz and what has made him such an elite reliever, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees on all of your favorite social media platforms. We've got an Instagram, a TikTok, a Twitter, a Facebook, and of course this YouTube page. And if you like what you see, make sure you guys give us some support by dropping a follow. You guys have been great with that, and we greatly appreciate your support. Now, with that being said, let's get started and let's just get jumping right into Fernando Cruz's repertoire. And Fernando Cruz on the season, a 2.79 ERA in 8 appearances, a 1.98 FIP. He has struck out 42.1% of batters faced with a 7.9% walk rate. He is yet to allow a barrel this season, and barrels have been his problem in the past. Damage prevention as a whole, he has consistently been hit hard time in and time out, and that has caused him to have issues with the Cincinnati Reds. But with the Yankees, he has remedied some of those issues. Now, among relievers this season and qualified relievers, Fernando Cruz's 42.1% strikeout rate is the 6th highest in Major League Baseball. His stuff, again, has just been ridiculous. And when you look at Fernando Cruz and what he does so well, and we look at what the Yankees have been able to change with him, there are a lot of variables at play here. First and foremost, the Yankees have said, hey, your splitter is maybe the best pitch in baseball. Throw it as much as humanly possible, and he has done just that. Fernando Cruz's splitter usage last season was 41.9%. The year before that, it was 35.9%. This season, it is up to 54.7%, so he has seen roughly a 13% increase in usage rate on his splitter. Batters are hitting .083 with a 125 slugging percentage. They have a 61.9% whiff rate on that pitch. Their expected batting average is .069, and their expected slugging percentage is 103. So, again, they're hitting under 100, they're slugging under 130, and they're actually getting a little bit lucky against that splitter. So, this pitch is truly a unique weapon. It is a dominant one. It is the kind of pitch that batters are just going to consistently have issues doing anything against. And honestly, I don't really know how hitters are supposed to hit this. It is a truly, truly unique pitch. It is one of the best pitches in baseball. I'll say it again. I doubt that there are many pitchers who throw a pitch that gets whiffs as consistently as Cruz's splitter does. And over the last few years, it has been one of the highest rated pitches in terms of getting swings and misses, consistently. So that's splitter right there. It's just been gross for him. But he's made some adjustments to the rest of his repertoire because the splitter wasn't the problem for him in Cincinnati. Last year with the Reds, his splitter had an .097 batting average and a 149 slugging percentage. So when you adjust for the ballpark, the fact that the Great American Ballpark is a lot more hitter-friendly than Yankee Stadium, it's the second most hitter-friendly ballpark in baseball behind Coors Field. When you make that adjustment, you go, this splitter has performed roughly as good as it did last year. Granted, the Yankees are having Fernando Cruz use that splitter more than he did last year, but again, when used, this pitch is roughly as effective as it was last year. So what's changed? So again, you increase the usage of your best pitch, but Fernando Cruz has been able to go to his four-seamer and his brand new slider more often to keep hitters honest and to set up and get into these counts where he can throw that splitter. Now, his four-seam fastball is still getting hit decently hard, but it's getting more swings and misses as a 33.3% whiff rate. And some of the changes here include an improvement in vertical break. So his four-seamer last year had 17 inches of induced vertical break. This year it has 18.1 inches of induced vertical break, so it's getting a similar amount of ride. This is without a change in arm angle. His arm angle was 45 degrees last year. It's 48 degrees this year. That's not enough of a change to warrant a 1.1 inch improvement in induced vertical break. So the Yankees have seemed to improve the four-seamer for Fernando Cruz. Batters this season are hitting 250 with a 250 slugging percentage. Last year they hit 294 with a 513 slugging percentage. So they are doing less damage. And then the whiff rate last year, a 14.3% whiff rate. This year, a 33.3% whiff rate. Now, the one thing that concerns me is that Fernando Cruz's four-seamer is still allowing a high exit velocity, but with more whiffs, with less contact, and with fewer four-seamers thrown, this year's four-seam usage is 17.6%, last year's 32.4%. By hiding this pitch a little more and by throwing a better version of it, I think his four-seamer will have more success, and I think that at the end of the day, he'll be able to avoid some of the barrels that he was allowing last year on that fastball. Now, his third most used pitch in 2024 was his cutter, which had a 25.6% usage rate, and it was one of the worst pitches in baseball. Batters hit .333 against it with a .765 slugging percentage. That is Aaron Judge level production against that cutter. So hitters on average were Aaron Judge when Fernando Cruz threw that cutter, and he ditched that pitch this year. He has not thrown a cutter with the New York Yankees and has replaced it with his slider. Now, kind of in the inverse of his four-seam fastball, the slider has been hit a lot. It has a .333 average allowed and a .133 slugging percentage. But number one, only 3 of his plate appearances have ended on a slider, and one of those was a home run. It was a slider that just backed up on him against Ke'Bryan Hayes in Pittsburgh. And number two, the underlying metrics on this slider are really good because he gets a lot of swings and misses and called strikes with this pitch. His slider has a 42.9% whiff rate with an 80.4 exit velocity on average. He's missing bats, he's getting called strikes, he's getting ahead in the count, and he is throwing this pitch in tandem with his four-seamer. Early in counts, getting called strikes, getting him ahead, putting him 0-1 or 0-2, or getting him back into a count to then set up that splitter and just give a different look. This slider averages about 2 inches of induced vertical break with 7.7 inches of sweep, so it's kind of a baby sweeper, but this pitch is very different from the pitches he's thrown last year. This pitch gives a very different look than what Fernando Cruz typically throws, which is a lot of north-south, up and down. This slider does have some good vertical depth, but it has a good amount of lateral movement as well. So batters are seeing a pitch that's either A, moving away from them, or B, moving into them if you're a left-handed batter. And that's an important angle to establish, and it's a much better job of being that strike-throwing pitch or being that swing-and-miss pitch than his cutter was. His cutter had a 26.7% whiff rate, and again, batters had a .504 WOBA, a .765 slug, and a .333 average. So Fernando Cruz's slider is a better pitch than his curveball. It's performed better than his cutter, It's performed better than his cutter, and it has really made him an elite weapon. Again, you go back to that splitter. That splitter's usage is way up, and that's a difference maker. Cruz is also throwing a sinker again, and this sinker has been hit hard, and it's not a pitch I consider a plus pitch necessarily. He's missed with it out of zone. It's kind of dead zone-y. Dead zone fastballs are fastballs that have a similar amount of induced vertical break as they do horizontal break. Those pitches are really easy to see for hitters. They pick them up really well. But it's just a different pitch. It's just a show pitch. It's different than his four-seamer. It moves into righties and away from lefties. That's an important angle to establish. We're talking about changing looks, changing eye levels, the ability to throw a pitch that moves into righties, away from righties, down and up in the zone. That's attacking all 4 quadrants, and then you kind of reverse it against lefties. Slider moves into lefties, sinker moves away from them. Splitter has that downward movement. Four-seamer has that vertical movement that allows it to play well at the top of the zone. So Fernando Cruz's arsenal has gone very much from just north-south to north-south and then east-west, and establishing that movement profile has allowed him to be far more deceptive. And then you factor in the fact that that splitter is one of, if not the best pitch in baseball. It is a true 80 grade pitch. Again, we talked about this with Smith Brickner. When you grade pitches, it's on a 20 to 80 scale. 80 being utterly elite, 20 being utterly trash. I think Fernando Cruz's splitter is an 80 grade pitch. It is utterly elite. It is an outlier pitch. It is one of the best pitches in baseball. And the results have shown that through this point. Now, some of the things that this has resulted in is better quality of contact allowed. Now, quality of contact is, to kind of put it in layman's terms, how hard are hitters hitting the ball against you? Like, are they doing damage? Are they, are they getting soft contact? Like, what do hitters do when they see your stuff? And this year, compared to years past, Fernando Cruz is allowing soft contact, which is a definitely an improvement over where he was last year. Fernando Cruz in 2024 had a 44.1% hard hit rate allowed and a 9.8% barrel rate allowed. His expected weight on base average on contact, which is measuring quality of contact, it's basically what your what hitters should have done against what hitters should have done against you on their batted balls alone. This does not factor strikeout rate or walk rate. We know Fernando Cruz can get strikeouts. The question was really, is Fernando Cruz capable of, when he does allow contact, is he capable of getting outs on those batted balls? And the answer so far has been yes. His expected weight on base on contact last year was 460. The major league average is around 360 to 370. This year, it's at 312. So, again, limiting damage contact. We talk about the hard hit rate, 44.1% last year, 31.5% this year. The barrel rate, 0% this year. The average exit velocity against, 84.6 miles per hour this year, compared to 88.7 miles per hour last year. So, Fernando Cruz had issues keeping the ball in the ballpark, had issues avoiding barrels. He allowed them consistently. But with the Yankees, we're seeing more swing and miss, and more importantly, we're seeing less damage contact. And if you want Fernando Cruz to be a productive part of your bullpen, you're going to need him to consistently limit damage contact. He has been elite for the Yankees. He's been one of the best relievers in baseball, and if you factor in clutch situations, he has been extremely valuable for this bullpen. When you look at win probability added, which is kind of a situation adjusted metric, so it looks at what situations are you pitching in, how well you're performing in those situations, and that's a big metric to use because you can have 5 scoreless outings and low leverage, and then you get called into a situation with a run game, and you blow the game. You're costing your team way more than you're helping them because you've only pitched well in situations where pitching really well doesn't affect the game outcome. If you allow a run over 2 innings and your team was up 7 runs, the impact you had on the game is minimal. The opposing team added 1 run. They were still down 4 runs when you left the mound, let's say in the 9th inning. The odds of that team winning the game was not dramatically increased because of that run allowed. But in a 1-run game like last night, if Fernando Cruz allows a run to score, that has a far greater impact on the Yankees' odds of winning that baseball game because it goes from being 1 out away from victory, which is a very high win probability, to being in a tie game and potentially having a runner on. And then the Royals might have a higher win probability than the Yankees. So that win probability might be closer to like 51, 52% for the Yankees. So again, win probability added, it's just factoring in the leverage of the situation. Fernando Cruz is second in the Yankee bullpen in win probability added at 0.42. His clutch index, so clutch score, how much better does he perform in clutch situations? No pitcher on the Yankees has a higher clutch rating than Fernando Cruz. So as the situation or as the leverage of the situation gets higher, as the game gets more important, as the score tightens up, as delivering a scoreless outing becomes more important for the team winning the game, Fernando Cruz gets better. So that is a really good indicator of a reliever who their impact on winning is there. The results, again, a 2.79 ERA, that's great. And then the underlying data, an expected ERA under 2, that means that there's a massive gap in results and expected data. Fernando Cruz's ERA is supposed to be a run lower than it actually is. FIP suggests the same thing. Expected FIP and skill interactive ERA all suggest the same thing. They all universally agree that Fernando Cruz's ERA should be below 2, and that his ERA is higher than it should have been. So that's a really encouraging sign. That tells you that results are good. The impact on winning is good. The pitcher performs better in high leverage situations than in low leverage situations. And the pitcher may have some positive regression heading their way. They may perform better than they have already by just maintaining this level of damage prevention and strikeout to walk rates. So I'm really, really impressed with Fernando Cruz. This is one hell of a trade for Brian Cashman. You take Jose Trevino, who was a surplus on the roster, given that J.C. Escara is a capable backup catcher, and you flip him and you turn him into exactly what this bullpen needed, which was strikeouts. The Yankees did not have enough strikeouts last year as a bullpen. I thought it really held them back as a group. I thought it was a big reason why their bullpen had issues in the postseason. The lack of swing and miss really did rear its ugly head as the bullpen was put into high leverage situations against great hitters. You look at the Dodgers series, like there are so many situations where a strikeout would have put the Yankees in the driver's seat to win that a game here or a game there, and perhaps change the tide in the World Series. When you have guys like Fernando Cruz who can miss bats, that changes everything. Last year, the Yankee bullpen, in terms of strikeout rate, they were 12th in baseball at 23.9%. That's just not good enough for me. This year, they're up to the best strikeout unit in baseball at 31.5%, and they have a 3.21 ERA. I expect them to get better as they bring in more of their top guys to replace some of the lesser guys in the bullpen. So like a Yoendrich Gomez being swapped out for Jonathan Loaizaga, a Tyler Matzik coming in maybe for someone else. I'm not really sure who that would be. Ian Hamilton getting acclimated. Of course, Jonathan Loaizaga and Jake Cousins are two guys I look at and I go, these two guys are going to be big game changers for the Yankees. Brett Hedrick is currently in AAA. He is someone who I think can help them and has helped them early on, but they have to option him to make room for some more relievers to freshen up the bullpen. And you don't want to burn all of his in-season call-ups now. I know that minor league options like the tab you see on like Fangraphs or that 3 minor league option year count is one thing, and it means that you can option a guy throughout the season, but you have a limited amount of promotions and demotions still. It was just negotiated in the CBA for, player betterment. You don't want players going up and down 15 times in a year. So they have some really good bullpen help on the way. This bullpen's already very good. You already have an established kind of top of the chain with Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. Williams looked really good in his last outing. His fastball velo was back, which is really encouraging. Luke Weaver's been excellent all season. Mark Valera Jr.'s performed far better than he did last year. Tim Hill has been Tim Hill, which is the clutch, good, really reliable reliever that he kind of always is. Yoendrich Gomez has provided some volume when needed, and Ryan Yarbrough surprisingly has missed bats. He struck out over 35% of batters faced. Now the ERA is ugly, but I think that number will improve as the season goes on. So overall, I think this bullpen, you walk away and you go, there are things that they need to do better. There are things that they need to improve upon. There are things that this group needs to be able to do if they want to win baseball games consistently. But they have everything in-house to do it, and they have help on the way to make this group even better. So Fernando Cruz is just another excellent piece in this bullpen, but he's been someone who's performed as like their second best reliever to this point behind Luke Weaver. So that's really, really impressive for someone who had such a bad spring training. And I know they talked about it on the broadcast. I'm really glad they did, because spring training is a time to test things out, and Fernando Cruz has been testing things out, whether it's throwing that brand new slider, whether it's perhaps maybe tinkering with that four-seam grip to get more ride and throwing some more sinkers and being more comfortable aggressively using that splitter. The Yankees have gotten the best out of Fernando Cruz up to this point, and I think they'll continue to get that throughout the course of the season. Last night, gets his first save. That's really cool. It's the first save of his career. The Yankees trusted him. Granted, that fly ball to right field, like Cody Bellinger does, bail him out there. But Cruz has kind of been the unfortunate victim of some poor luck throughout his career, so I think it's poetic that he gets a little bit of a break to get his first major league save. I love the emotion he pitches with. You can kind of see him live and die with some pitches. You don't want to see him dial that down a little bit and be a little more level-headed on the mound, because at the end of the day, you need a quick memory, or you need a short memory, and you need to be able to forget things quickly, and you need to be able to kind of move on and make the next pitch. But I think that there's that level of intensity and that level of pride in being a Yankee that I just dig with, right? Like, I just dig with it. I love it. I love that stuff. But with that being said, let us know what you guys think about Fernando Cruz in the comment section below. He has been nasty, he's been wicked, but we want to know what you guys think and get yourselves involved down below. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a 5-star rating. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to join the Fireside family. You guys can also check us out on our various social media pages, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or of course this YouTube page. We've got some fun stuff we're going to be doing on social media. We've got a custom-made cocktail coming out for our Aspen Vodka Player of the Week, which the fans voted for, and they voted for left-handed starting pitcher Max Fried, who delivered a 7 shutout inning performance in Detroit, and then followed it up with 6 2/3 innings of 2-run baseball, 2 quality starts, 2 wins, and a really, really strong showing early on with the Yankees. I did a full film breakdown of Max Fried's start against Kansas City last night. If you want to check that out, that will be somewhere on your screen right now. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out. Let's go Yankees.
Perfect.